Hi there. Instead of trying to type out my explanation, I figured I'd just make a quick video to show you how to achieve what you're trying to achieve while also showing some other tips and tricks and some tools that maybe you use, maybe you don't. All right, let's dive right in. Here is the artwork that we're working with, and we want to change it so that the white is the fill and the black is the kind of transparent, if you will, so that when you engrave, it engraves these white parts and not the black parts. So any panel that I use over here, I'm going to use the layers panel. If you don't see it, just come up to window and go down to the layers panel. Mine's already showing, so it'll disappear. I'm going to click it again so it appears. So any panel I talk about, if you don't see it, just come to window and just look for it in here so it pops up. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is, this is our artwork. We're going to make a copy of our artwork. So we have two. We're going to lock the back one and we're going to hide it so we're not messing with it. And we just have this top one. I'm going to select all and I'm going to use the shape builder tool. The shape builder tool is similar to the Pathfinder tool, but it's a lot more robust. It does a lot more that I believe, and it works faster and it's more precise, if you will. So, and a good example of that is here. I'll just show you this. This is a great example. So here is the objects, and if I hit unite, which is what most people would do at this point, nothing happens. Like I want this to fill in, but nothing happens. But if I come over here to the tool panel and I get the shape builder tool, which is right here, I'm going to use the shortcut keyboard, which is Shift M. It brings up the shape builder tool. You start out with this little cursor with a plus button. You can make it a negative. My dog's barking. You can make it a negative by hitting the option key, and that turns it to a negative. And what that does is either pluses adds the shapes together, or subtracts them. So I'm going to keep it on the plus, which is just the default. I'm going to click and drag through these shapes. I'm still holding the mouse down and I'm just dragging. And as I drag, you'll see now it joins all these shapes together. And as I click and drag over the ones that didn't get picked, you can see them here indicated by the blue. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so I can see. I'm hitting Command plus, Control plus on a PC to zoom in, and just get these little bits here. And if you get real stubborn ones, you could select those little points and just delete them. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. I'll come back to that one. I'll show you how to get that guy if he's being a little pesky guy. All right, same thing. So we're going to do, I'm clicking and dragging through all these shapes. There we go. Click and drag this, click and drag that, and that. We'll just do all this. Perfect. And here are the little guys, the little tiny ones. So I don't have to zoom in and out. I can get rid of these little guys really easy. And the best way to do that is to hit the Q key on the keyboard, right? And that brings up the lasso tool, which is right here, the lasso tool. And then if you just draw a little circle around each one of these and hit delete, we can just delete them real quick. Select these guys, delete that, and select these guys, delete those, and that little guy. Okay, cool. So now we have our solids, which is going to ultimately turn into our outlines for the cut lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this by either dragging this whole group layer down to here where the plus button is, or I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut, which is Command C or Control C on a PC, and then Command or Control F, not V, F. And the reason we push F is because it pastes it right in place. It almost looks like nothing happened, but you can see over here, I now have two. Excuse me. So this back one, I'm going to lock this top one. This back one, I'm going to turn into a compound path. So if you go to Object, Compound Path, and Make, or I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut, which is Command 8, Control 8 on a PC. So I hit that, and that joins those groups together. The reason we did that is so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our original background layer, which is all of our shapes here. And we're going to meet what these little circles right here, they call meatballs. We're going to meatball this group. I'm going to hold the Shift key and meatball this group so I get both of them. And now I'm going to use the Pathfinder tool. Once again, this is where the Pathfinder tool comes in strong because it's going to do exactly what I want it to do, unlike before. So we're going to click this exclude button. And now you see we have just the parts that are the white parts, and that's the part we want to keep. The reason we made a copy of this is so now we can bring this back and we're going to turn this fill into a stroke, and it's very easy to do that as long whatever's selected, which is this layer. If you just come here to this little arrow, it'll turn the fill to a stroke. I'm just going to click this arrow and it flips it around. So now you see we have a cut line and then we have the engraves on the inside. And I'll just color these kind of what I would want them to be colored. I'm going to bring up a swatch panel here because I have nothing open. Actually, I'm going to open up my Glowforge swatch panels because that'll maybe look a little more familiar to everybody. Here we go. And you can select the red to be your stroke like that, and then you can select the inside to be green. A lot of people like to do green and red as stroke and engrave. Quick tip: this is a Glowforge swatch panel you can download. They're everywhere. There are many different websites. You can just do a Google search for it. Just so you know, the way these colors are in order here is the color order for the hierarchy of operation in Glowforge software. What does that mean? That means if I set this top to this black color, this will cut first before the engraving happens. We don't want that. We want the engraving to happen first. So you select the part you want to engrave, then you select this. Oh, we want to be, sorry about that. We want to be on the fill color. You select these parts and fill them with the black, and then you select the cut lines and select the next color in line, which will be blue. So once again, I need to be on the stroke. Sorry about that. That's my fault. So what this means, that Glowforge is going to bring this in. It's going to see these solids and it's going to go, oh, you want me to engrave these? I'll engrave these first. Then I see the blue is next. Then you have to select whether you're going to cut or score this. That'll be in the Glowforge software, but this will be already second. It'll already be in the correct order. You want to do all your scoring and engraving first, all cuts last. So use this guide to order up your order of operations. It'll save you time once you get into Glowforge, because if you have a lot of pieces, once you bring in Glowforge, it'll all already be in the right order. You may have to still go in and select whether it needs to be cut or scored, but at least they'll be in order. So when I bring this into Glowforge, and actually I could do that real quick and I'll show you that. I'll do save as desktop. I'm going to make this an SVG. I'll hit, I'm going to use, yeah, it's fine. I use artboard, it doesn't matter. And all my settings are correct. I'll hit OK. I'm going to upload. Let me get my SVG. And so you could see that already they're in the right order. Now, of course, I didn't choose any wood yet, so there I go. And look, it already assumed it knew what I wanted to do, which is kind of cool. And sometimes this will happen, sometimes it won't. There's a misconception that the colors dictate what this does over here. They do not. Engrave looks for solids. Once it finds solids, fills, it'll engrave, and then cut, and could be cut and score, can be just a line. So this could have come in as a, as a score, but it came in as a cut, and that's good for us. So this is all ready to go, and of course these are all separate, and you can size them however you want and do whatever you want here in the Glowforge software. Well, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, hit me up.